Changes caused by wind. Imagine yourself standing on a beach with your face to the wind. Sand hits your skin so hard that it begins to sting. Now imagine this blowing sand hitting a rock. Over time, the sand wears away the rock by breaking it into smaller pieces. The process of wearing away rocks by natural means is known as weathering. The weathered pieces of rock, some as large as sand grains, are carried away by the wind. The pieces keep moving as long as the wind is blowing. But when the wind slows down, the large pieces fall to the ground. Over a long time, the wind leaves small piles of sand in some areas. These piles grow as more and more sand is blown into the pile. Slowly, they become sand dunes. Sand dunes are found in many places, such as in deserts, at beaches, and on lake shores. Some desert dunes are as high as a 30-story building. Many beaches along the Atlantic coast have long lines of dunes. These dunes help protect the land during storms, but they can also damage nearby buildings and roads as they move inland, pushed by strong winds from the ocean. Focus skill. Cause and effect. How can wind change landforms? A mushroom rock, like the one shown here, has this shape because the wind blew sand around the bottom of the rock, wearing it away. Changes caused by moving water. Suppose your hands are dirty after working in the garden. Rinsing your hands removes most of the soil. The water flows over your hands, picks up the soil, and carries it away. In a similar way, moving water can change Earth's surface by carrying soil and small pieces of rock away from landforms. The process of moving sediment by wind, water, or ice is called erosion. Water is an important cause of change for Earth's landforms. Moving water can dig a mile-deep canyon or change the path of a river. For example, a rapidly flowing river erodes its banks and its bottom. Eroding the banks makes the river wider. Eroding the bottom makes the river deeper. The moving water then carries sediment downstream. When the flow of water slows down, sediment is deposited. Deposits on a river's banks make it narrower. Deposits on the bottom make the river shallower. Focus skill. Cause and effect. How can water cause a river's banks to change? Canyons along the Colorado River are examples of changes made by moving water. For millions of years, the river has been wearing away rocks and carrying sediment downstream. The river has carved deeper and deeper into the landforms of the Southwest. Erosion and deposition. Moving wind or water has energy, which enables it to move sediment. The faster the wind or water moves, the more energy it has. Fast water with a lot of energy can erode a lot of sediment. Slow water with little energy can erode only a small amount of sediment. But all moving water, even a gentle rain, can erode some sediment. Rain doesn't seem very powerful, but it can cause erosion. When rain falls on a bare hill or mountain, it splashes away soil. As it runs downhill, the water increases its speed and gains energy. The moving water carries away sediment. Over time, water erosion may leave gullies or ditches in the ground. Ocean waves also cause erosion. Constant wave action can change sloping shorelines into cliffs. Waves crashing against the shore carry away broken bits of rock. Piece by piece, the cliffs get steeper. In many places, there is so much erosion that the top of a cliff overhangs the bottom. When this happens, the entire cliff can collapse into the ocean. Then waves begin eroding the collapsed rock and forming new cliffs. Ocean waves change landforms in another way, too. If you stand on a beach and watch the waves, you see that each wave brings more sand onto the beach. The process by which sediment drops out of water is called deposition. Why does deposition occur? You've read that sediment is carried in water as long as the water flows fast. Fast-flowing water has a lot of energy. When water slows down, it loses energy. Larger pieces of sediment drop out of the water first and settle to the bottom. As the water slows down more, smaller and smaller particles sink to the bottom. A river often deposits sediment at its mouth, the place where it empties into the ocean. The flow of water slows as a river reaches the ocean. As a result, much of the sediment the river carries is deposited, forming a delta. A delta is an area of new land at the mouth of a river. Flooding can deposit sediment near a river. During heavy rains, a flooding river sends water over its banks. When the rains end, the water slowly returns to the river, but the sediment it carried is deposited on the land. This sediment is rich in nutrients that plants need. As a result, floodplains, as these areas are called, are usually good for farming. But living on a floodplain can be dangerous. Rapidly flowing water can move houses as well as sediment. Focus skill. Cause and effect. What causes a delta to form? Instalab. Settle down. You'll need a clear container, some water, and a mixture of soil and sand. Fill the container half full of water. Put the mixture in your hand and slowly drop it into the container. How does the mixture settle out of the water? The channels and gullies in this hillside were caused by rain. Crashing waves can change the face of a cliff. Deposition. Floods deposit nutrient-rich soil on the floodplain. When the Mississippi River enters the Gulf of Mexico, the water slows down. Sediment is deposited and the delta grows. Sinkholes and landslides. Water can change not only landforms on Earth's surface, but also features underground. For example, groundwater can weather and erode soft rocks. Underground erosion causes caves to form. Often, the roof of a cave collapses due to the weight of material above it. If the cave is near the surface, a large hole, called a sinkhole, may open suddenly. Most sinkholes are found where limestone is common, such as in Florida. As you learned, water isn't the only factor that causes erosion and deposition. Gravity can also cause these land-changing processes to happen. Gravity can make soil, mud, and rocks move quickly down a slope. This form of erosion is called a landslide. Landslides can happen suddenly, especially after heavy rains or earthquakes. Focus skill. Cause and effect. What causes a sinkhole to form? This sinkhole opened up suddenly in Atlanta in 1993. This mud flow in California was the result of heavy rains in the nearby hills. Plants. Plants can also cause weathering and erosion. When a seed germinates on a rocky slope, it sends roots into tiny cracks or holes in the rock. The roots grow and may eventually become large enough to break the rock into smaller pieces. Plants don't just weather rock. They also help preserve and protect Earth's landforms. Plant roots hold soil and sand in place. This helps prevent erosion by wind and water. Providence Canyon formed when plants were removed and runoff from nearby farms eroded the land. Farmers often plant clover or other cover crops in fields they aren't using to grow food crops. Cover crops help return nutrients to the soil and help